What's up, bitches? Welcome to Manscape with your host Cornelia Surber. I got a special guest for you today. It's my own flesh and blood. It's Surber. He is a over-the-road trucker and an all-around good dude, and we're just gonna talk about some shit and see what we can come up with and see what kind of shit we can say. What's up, Mackenzie?
What's up, motherfuckers?
Yeah.
Just coming in here from Ohio.
Getting the shit done.
Getting this podcast in. What's going on with your life, Corey?
Oh, just doing shit, bro. Just doing my shit. Mac Attack. We gotta talk. You've been on the road a lot. How does it feel like coming back to chill life? Yeah, I feel like if I was on the road that much, I would be so excited to come home and chill. Like, that would be the only thing I could think about.
You know, it feels good.
Yeah, I imagine it feels good. Like, you get to see a lot of shit, though, when you're on the road. You literally get paid to travel the states. I haven't even left this side of the United States. I haven't seen Colorado. How far have you gone on your treks, my nigga? Ooh, I should be careful.
Excuse yourself. Well, I've been to California from New Jersey, all 48 except Hawaii and Alaska. That's why I said 48 states, because Hawaii and Alaska, those are the two I don't go to. That's why I say 48. And back on your first
You're
question,
not an over-the-water trucker,
right? There's no bridge that goes across the ocean. But back to what we were talking about, you dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah, bring it.
We were talking about
La Chica en Fuego.
What does it feel like when you come back home? Well, it's a lot like when you go to the Army for 6 months. I come back every single week. Every single weekend.
So it's the exact opposite of that.
Well, it's basically like coming home from your job. It's like you're home every single weekend, and it just feels satisfying to be back in your own bed instead of some bed that's constantly moving. When you're sleeping in a moving truck, it's really hard to sleep, and you feel like you're going to die throughout the night. Sometimes you wake up and there's a bump, and you feel terrified, and you put your arms over your head because you think you're about to wreck and you're about to die. So that's how sleeping in a truck goes, my friend.
I like it. I'm going to continue with that. I do want to make an announcement, though. We don't really have to work on talking over each other, but I do have to work on burping. I have been called out for burping on my podcast. I thought this was Manscaped. Cody, looking at you. Go fuck yourself. Yes. I feel like sleeping anywhere away from home is a nightmare, and especially if you're fucking driving. But the worst part for you is you have to meet dudes and, like, exist with them all the fucking time. Like, I can't imagine being thrown in. Like, coworkers are coworkers, but you literally spend every waking moment with these people for 6 days straight, right?
Yeah, it's basically like having a wife. I was gonna relate it to having like a coworker at a factory, but it's nothing like that because you have to tell each other to clean up after each other. You have to tell each other to put your bedding up on the top shelf after you're done sleeping. You have to tell them to drive longer and drive harder, drive faster, stop taking breaks, be safer, stop hitting the brakes so hard because I can't sleep because I feel like I'm going to die every single time you hit the brakes that hard.
I don't think I'd feel comfortable letting somebody, like, in control of my life. Especially, you don't know who you're getting into, so how sane do you have to be to drive a truck? Like, what's the background on it? Do they, like, extensively look at you, like, or you just have to have a clean driving record? Fuck it. Like, this guy's in control of you now.
It's mostly a clean driving record, but if you have a felony, they're not going to accept you. But what I'm dealing with right now, I have somebody that shits themselves, and they're just a piece of shit in general.
And he's not going to listen to this, right?
Probably not. I don't think your 6 listeners is one of is him.
It's fucked up, but I agree with you.
After this episode, I'm hoping for 10 and share this with your friends.
We're really shooting for 10 this episode. That's why I was excited to have you on.
Well, after this podcast, I think there's a lot of truckers out there who agree with me that there's a lot of shitty partners out there. No pun intended. Cha-ching. That's kind of my line.
It's kind of your thing.
That's one of my things I do. Like, I'll say something and I'll go, cha-ching, you know?
Maybe you're the psycho that people have to get stuck with.
You know, I try and look at myself from a different view, from a different angle. I try and, I ask myself, am I the one that's fucked up? Am I the one doing these things that's annoying everybody? But then I realize, no, I'm better than them, and they're the ones that are causing problems, and they're pieces of shit.
I like your attitude in this whole thing, and that kind of relates back to like mental health too. Like kind of like you might think that it's portrayed as you, but you and I are both anxious dudes. I think it's a genetic thing. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. Are you cool with that?
I'm actually kind of uncomfortable with that. No, I'm actually cool with that.
Yeah, I thought you'd be uncomfortable because that goes hand in hand with the anxious. Go
ahead, ask your questions.
Okay.
Actually, I have something to go off of that. I've experienced anxiety from around 16 years old, but you've actually experienced anxiety at a later age. Can you go off of that, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir.
Ooh, the tables have turned. I honestly, I just want to talk about like when you were younger and you were going through anxiety. I was like, oh, like, hey, you're breaking the number one rule: no burps, dude. Burp in your fucking armpit.
That mic can hear that?
Yeah, I can hear every burp. No burps in here, man. I've got a lot of complaints. 6 people. You know how embarrassing that is?
Split that headphone. Let me put one in. What? Can you hear me breathing every time I inhale and
yes,
exhale?
Dude. And it's super comforting. Here, have the headphone. But back to what we were talking about. This is going to be so uncomfortable.
We don't have to do that.
Yeah, we don't have to do that. Thank God. Sorry for the pause moments here. Mackenzie and I have been drinking a little bit.
Sorry, 10 listeners, which it will be after this one, because I know there's a lot of truck drivers out there.
Fuck the truck driver thing. Back to the anxiety thing. Let me get us back.
Well, as a truck driver, sometimes...
Mackenzie, let me get us back on the rails here.
Social anxiety truck driver?
Yes, socially trucking. When you were at a young age and you started experiencing it, Mom's always been kind of a anxious person, like growing up, and I never really could relate until just recently. And you would like you'd be in moments where you kind of had to fully prepare yourself to go in front of people and talk to people. It's easy to think it's in your head, but like you think it's like a genetic thing that's going on, or you think it's like passed down?
I really don't know. I've always been brave. I've always been the main guy in my group of friends.
The old top dog.
Yeah, I was always kind of like, I like to think of myself as a leader. But there was just one day when I was 16, I was doing a speech. I didn't know anybody in that class. And like Eminem and 8 Mile, I bombed hard, and they booed me off stage.
Mom spaghetti, dude. Mom spaghetti.
Speaking of Mom spaghetti, she literally made spaghetti. She didn't make Mom spaghetti, but...
I mean, it was passive Mom spaghetti.
She done spaghetti as soon as I got home.
It's fucking dope.
But really, though, at that young of an age, I was probably, I was actually a senior. So that whole year, just skating by, just glassing around throughout the high school year, you know? 1 year left. And miserable every single time you go into a class. Every single time you go into a class, you're wondering, are they going to make me read out loud? Are they going to make us do a speech? And as soon as they say, we have speeches coming up, or that we have some kind of project coming up, you instantly in your head, you start freaking out. You think it's the end of the world, but it's really not, but it's just your brain. I really have to thank my vice principal, because I told him about it, and his wife actually deals with the same thing, and he got me out of a lot of classes because of it. He sent an email out.
Really? Yeah. I didn't know that. That's sweet. I think, that was super cool of him, but it would have been awesome is if he would have like had you talk to his wife and see like how she kind of approaches it. What I've learned, like, I did a shit ton of research right when anxiety started striking me. It fucking hit me hard, just out of nowhere. I've been working with people for a long time, and one day I was just like helping out these ladies. I remember exactly when it happened, and like just out of nowhere, my body's like, oh, you're in danger now. And the fight or flight mechanism is so powerful. It takes over everything in your body. Like your vital organs are no longer getting shit. It just like, well, your vital organs are the only thing getting blood. It takes it from your hands and your feet and your face.
It goes to the vital organs.
It's horrifying. Right. It literally just drains you of everything, and you just feel like you're on stage. Even when you're on stage, that's even worse. But
right.
But I just didn't realize how physical it was. I thought it was all mental. And then something that you could have benefited from, I think, if you were too young to really understand, but if he would have taught you like how to manage it, I think that would have been cool. Have you gotten better at managing it?
Oh yeah, of course. Every single year you get better at it. The first few years I couldn't even get to the store. For a whole year I wasn't even able to leave the house. I wasn't able to get a job. I wouldn't go any darker than that, but that's about as dark as it got. That was the bottom.
Well, that fucking sucks. I mean, you're stuck in the house the whole time. You don't get to see shit. It makes everyday tasks terrifying.
The only thing that got me out of the house was the fear of going to jail for not paying child support.
Ooh, that's a good one, though. That's a good way to get you out of the fucking house.
I have to thank it because I have to thank my daughter and my baby mother for getting me pregnant.
Shout out.
But, yeah, like, I started working in a factory, and then I'm like, $100 and $120 on my paycheck every single week. And it's like I barely got out of the house, but after getting out of the house, you get better at it. But there's always situations just lurking around the corner. Having social anxiety, it's like walking into a nightmare every single time you walk into a store. Every single time you walk into a Walmart. Every single time, or in your case, a rude customer walks into the store. It's like a nightmare. Think of the scariest thing you can think of, and that thing is walking into that door as you're walking around it. And you got to figure out how to deal with it without looking like a crazy person. Do you agree?
Yeah, well, I absolutely agree. I think people like you and I were very open about it, and there's a lot of, I know for a fact there's a ton of our friends right now that are experiencing the exact same things that we deal with, and it's easy to just brush it under. Like when you feel like you're not on par with everybody else, it's easy to chalk it up to, oh shit, I'm broken. But everybody knows that mental health is a giant issue. Like, you and I aren't broken. There's something going on, and we haven't figured it out yet. So it's definitely a good idea that we address it constantly. Do you think it's kept you from accomplishing anything in your life? Like, where would you be if you weren't an anxious dude?
Well, junior year, me and a lot of my friends, we were thinking about going into the police academy. We were always big fans of fighting, and we thought that would translate into policing pretty well. And I started smoking weed when I was around 16, and I started getting panic attacks around my friends.
Which I didn't know until like 7 weeks ago, by the way. Merry Christmas, motherfucker.
Well, I actually got them into smoking weed. Like I said, I like to think of myself as the leader because they met each other through me, and
you're a dope dude. You're like ripped as fuck.
I'm just yoked, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And when I stopped smoking weed, they stopped being my friends, you know, and you guys start making new friends after that. It's kind of weird when they'll just stop hanging out with you because of one little thing, like you don't get high anymore. But the weed actually started turning on me. It actually started making me anxious. And maybe that actually developed the anxiety.
Well, that's interesting. You and I were actually talking about this. Weed is a wonderful tool. This will kind of transition to what I was wanting to talk about later, like marijuana legalization, because you and I are like prime suspects for fucking medical cards.
It's just an idea, because that's around the time I did start, and it's one of the exact things that did trigger it.
Well, so you motherfucker, Kenzie just spilled shit everywhere. Oh, you put it back. You didn't even blow it off. All right. When I tried weed in college for the first time, and it was cool because I wasn't an anxious person back then. And everybody says that weed is good for anxiety. You and I were talking about this. Once you smoke weed, you're gonna have a crazy panic attack. Like, from my experience, at least, it's like a giant battle. And then once you get over that, that's when the creativity comes in. And I like to use it for my comedy, my art, and everything. It just chills me the fuck out. And I don't see it's hurting anybody. But do you think it would be a good tool for anxiety, or do you think it's too powerful right now?
Well, if anxiety is all in the mind, and marijuana mostly works on your mind, it takes you to those places you don't like to explore. That's why, like, someone with social anxiety, when they smoke weed and those panic attacks do trigger, it's taking you to those places you don't like to explore in your brain. Maybe you should explore those places, because we are on a, as Joe Rogan likes to say,
shut up.
There's a plug. We're just on a meteor flying through space, so we need that ego breakdown. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it's good practice. It doesn't cure it automatically, but it is like a gym. Everybody's gonna, some people like look at it and, oh, you smoke weed, you're an asshole. I don't fucking smoke weed because I'm an anxious person, but it is a cool like working out of my brain. It like you said, it takes you. When I was high one time, it was like, oh, these are your issues right here, and it just presents them in front of you, and you can do with it what you will. Not digging it. Nah. Yeah, but it kind of presents it, and it allows you to kind of see yourself in a different light that you don't really look at yourself. Do you think? I don't understand why that's such a problem. What do you feel about the legalization? Like, do you think we're on the right path, or?
You know, we all have different opinions on. Actually, I would say probably 80% of Americans would all agree on the marijuana disposition of legalizing it. But on the other hand, the real question is Trump and Hillary. We're no longer the United States of America. We are now the divided States of America. Because if my math is correct, 49% Trump.
Is. Holler.
49% Trump, 51%. Yeah, that's right, math. Fuck you.
Math is
bitches.
dope. Fuck you, math.
49-51. That equals 100%.
What up, bitch? I knew that too. I was fact checking.
49 Trump, 51 Hillary. We're definitely a divided nation. We're all either left or right. But both parties, they both have good things to bring to the table. But if we can all come together as something like an independent, but we all think that's throwing your vote away, so we think we have to vote for some guy that says grab you by the pussy. We think we have to vote for some chick that has a lot of stuff going on, email fraud and what have you. But what are your ideas?
I agree with, like, I think politics do divide us, which is fucking silly. I think the whole party system is a little bogus, and I'm not the only one that agrees on that, but it's bullshit. Like, oh, you think Trump, I don't even know politics at all, but Trump believes in this, Trump believes in that, Hillary believes in that. But who cares? Like, if you stick to that side, you're always going to vote that dude. We should be able to vote for a dude that believes in shit, and, oh, I believe in everything that dude believes in. Right. Like, we're a big enough society where we're a hive mind. You know that, Catch Me Outside, how about that, chick?
Catch Me Outside, how about it?
That's right. You know it. And you know what? 60-year-old women do too. We're a hive mind. Why are we using a dead system for something that's not going to work? We need to keep this ship floating. We need everybody on board. We're using ancient tools. It's bullshit.
I wouldn't call it ancient. How long ago was it developed? I'm going to go with the crazy guess. And I'm an American. I'm going to go with the crazy guess of 1800. Fact check that. Probably correct.
Red Band. Fact check.
1745. That sounds right. Well, we escaped from Britain. We came over here on boats, and we killed all the Indians, and that's fucking facts. But where was I going with that?
But shit has changed drastically. We're interconnected insanely. Like, an argument back in the day would take months to squash your beef with your bros. But now, immediately, when you have an issue, it's solved. Why do we wait? Ooh, who do we vote for? No, let's find the fucking perfect candidate. It's simple.
Right. I've actually media's taken over politics, right?
Yeah.
I actually think about what I would do if I was the president. Think about that for a second. What would you do if you were the president? Like, I would think of the best economic group. Who are the best top 5 economic people in America? Bring them all together and let them debate and put it on live stream. Let no more smoke and mirrors. Let everything be
straight up. Yeah, everybody see what's going on.
The best foreign relations people. Put 5 people of the best in that category. The president's basically like the Queen of England. You're bullshit.
Hey, I say that all the time. Yeah.
Right?
You're just a fucking figure.
Yeah, you're just a figure. So get the best people you
Our
can.
figure is a teenage girl right now. Sorry if you're not popular opinion, but who uses Twitter that much? I'm just saying.
I didn't get that reference.
He tweets. That's what our president does. It's
right,
not a
right,
reference.
Right.
A child tweets, and that's what Trump's doing. But hey, don't kill me.
You know,
I absolutely agree. If you're in charge of the country, why aren't you fucking rallying? Like, and I'm not just saying, I'm not calling out Trump. If he does shit, that's fine. If he keeps the ship going, I don't give a fuck who you are. If you keep this ship going, and I'm on the fucking ship, I'm fine with it.
Right. almost interrupted you. I was gonna say hate to interrupt you, but I didn't interrupt you. But I still
Respect.
I still hate to interrupt
You should, because I'm a powerful man.
Well, I hate to interrupt you after the fact that I didn't interrupt you.
That's respectable.
But I already forgot what I was gonna say because now I'm talking about the interrupting. But seriously, I think I was gonna talk about Trump. Fuck, what was I gonna say?
We were talking about. We'll get back to Trump.
No. It was a really important subject.
You better have it though. I mean, like.
No, I lost it. Go. It's gone.
Yeah, I gave you the fucking time, dude. Now we're moving on.
I was talking about what happened.
You're talking about grabbing by the pussies, man. I fucking sometimes.
No, what did you say in the first place? I'm sorry.
What I say, dude. We're going back to the marijuana shit. Hey, what do you feel about?
I feel like I had a really good point.
I want to know the point, but just bring the point back when it happens.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But when marijuana becomes legal, like what kind of state do you think Ohio will be? Do you think I have like this Wizard of Oz post Dorothy coming back home, like when everything's cool. Like I have this vision where everything's totally cool. Our economy is going to get way better, and I see no negative effects. Like, I know some people just hate the smell of weed, and that's why they voted down. Taro, I'm looking at you, you motherfucker.
Yeah, you fucking Taro. Does he listen to this?
He will listen.
Listen to this, Taro. So, in my opinion, if I was president, like I was talking about, which I forgot what I was saying, but I think it's coming back. Not going to mention it. But
that's fine, we'll talk about it.
Drug legalization, all around. This is a broad subject. Not just marijuana. Heroin.
Ooh,
MDMA.
Ooh, that's a rough one.
All drugs. Because Trump is all worried about Mexicans coming over the border, but how do you fix that? You fix where it's coming from. How do you fix Mexico? Do you know that cartels are taking over the government? What's funding the cartels? It's the drugs that's coming to America. If you legalize heroin, marijuana, and all the drugs that they're sending in, where do they get their money from? Answer that.
That's a good idea. I've actually thought about that myself.
Hang on, that also gives us tax money and also regulates the drugs that these guys are gonna get either way.
Well, it also has people doing heroin. Like we should.
They're gonna do it if they want to do it. They're gonna find a way to do it. But if we're gonna let them do it, it might be a couple dollars extra than they're used to, but they'll have a doctor watching over them. Also, they'll know that these drugs are safe as they can be. My bad. That's just my idea.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with that. That's a good point, but I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Okay.
But I'm not really in association with the devil. It's just a phrase.
You're just an advocate.
I'm just an advocate of the opposite side of your argument. If we legalize heroin, that's going to be crazy. Like, the people that are afraid to try heroin because it's illegal, we're going to... Yeah. I know what you're saying, like, legalization. Like, I think marijuana should be legal because if I want to smoke weed and write comedy or draw, right now, I have to figure it out how to get it, and
now you can just go to the store and you can buy heroin if you want to try it, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's going to be easier to get.
But my point about weed is if I wanted to go buy weed, I would tell the guy selling weed, I'd be like, hey, listen, dude, I want to go home, I want to watch comedy, I want to eat Ben and Jerry's. It's a cheat day. Don't judge me. Yeah. I'm fat, whatever. But now if you want to do it, you got to go out of your way, ask some shady people, and it's Russian roulette with legal weed or illegal weed. You're either watching infomercials on your couch or you're blasting off and meeting God. There's no in the median. Like, I think something safe like weed should be regulated. Now, heroin, that's always going to be an issue. That's always going to be difficult. There's no legalizing it, and it's fine.
You know, with marijuana, it's a subject that if you're not with it, you're on the wrong side of history. Anything else, heroin and all that stuff, yeah, what I said is kind of against a lot of people's judgment, like legalizing all of that stuff. Of course, a lot of people that wouldn't wanted to try it before would try it because going to a drug dealer is a scary thing. Are you gonna get shot? Are you gonna get something like rat poison? But at the same time, you know, like having a doctor watch over you, like that's why when I put myself in that seat where the president is, like, how much power does he have? And if I do have a lot of power, which he obviously does because he went through with that fucking pipe construction or whatever that was. I don't know anything about it. I can't speak upon it.
Yeah, I don't know enough, but...
You know what I was thinking about the other day? To get away from all this.
That's fine, yeah, that's fine. Go wherever you want.
If I ever felt so strongly about something, to walk out in the streets with a picket sign, thinking I meant something, like the fucking guy next to me, like me being there is gonna make a fucking difference.
Nobody cares about your goddamn picket sign.
Nobody cares.
Unless you make a dope picket sign. Like, unless you go to Hobby Lobby and fucking trick the shit out of it.
He's the guy that went there and he's like, people are gonna love this, but then he becomes a part of the crowd. I think that's what all this picket signing is. But we'll get back to that. Becoming a part of it. But what I'm getting
we can keep getting away. That's fine.
What I'm getting at.
The deeper we get,
is if I ever felt something so... If I ever felt so strongly about something that I'm willing to go out and picket sign for, you know that Buddhist monk, if you ever been in history class, that poured gasoline on himself and caught himself on fire?
Yeah, good video.
Picture. Videos weren't around at the time.
We'll look into it. I'll fact check that.
It was a color picture, so maybe.
Yeah. It was a color, motherfucker.
Yeah, they were having black and white pictures at that time. But, you know, if you ever felt so strong about some sort of subject that you're willing to go out and picket sign for it, fucking catch yourself on fire if you care about it that much.
Jesus Christ.
That's the way I look at it. I look at
damn, dude, you're fucking
dramatic. If I ever looked at something that Trump did, I'm like, you know what? That actually got to me. I actually stand against that.
Hey, I promise. You know how many people feel that way? 0. You know how many people have caught themselves on fire after that monk? 0.
Right.
Like if every time I got pissed off at Trump,
news?
you know what? God damn it! How much is gas right now? What if you're going against gas prices? You're like, when these prices go down, I'm gonna burn the fuck out of myself.
I'm gonna kill my fucking self.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy about that Buddhist monk? I also thought, am I gonna be able to sit still like he did while he was on fire?
No,
definitely not.
No, you're not.
I actually went through this in my head.
I fucking got sprayed with bacon grease the other day, and I cried like a bitch.
I went through this in my head. I was like, if I ever do this, like, how am I gonna do this? All right, I'm gonna go to some place like that pipeline where it's freezing cold. I'm just gonna pour water on myself. It's gonna be in a gasoline container, so it's gonna look like it's gasoline, but it's actually water. But it's freezing cold out there, so I'll still die. I'm gonna have to die either way.
No, dude, you gotta pull out a green screen, make dope ass CGI effects. Like,
no,
this is how strong that.
What does protesting do? Yeah, it makes the news, but it's just like voting. Like, does your vote count? Does your picket sign count? And does actually standing out there count? Because it still went through. Yeah, it kind of makes a little bit of opposition, but no matter what, they will have some kind of team come out there. SWAT team, to stop you from what you're doing. National Guard. But if you have some guy come out there and catch himself on fire, like, all right, these guys are super serious about this. That guy didn't have a sign. He killed himself. He burned himself to a crisp.
Yeah, that'd be dope. I don't know, man.
If I ever feel something, not right now, I'm gonna burn myself alive. Sorry about that tangent, but that's
no, you're good, man. Every time I try and catch myself on fire, gas prices go down, and I'm content. Like every time I go for it, it's like gas is under 2. I'm like, God damn it!
I guess I can afford the gas.
This is so affordable.
That's why water during the whole pipeline thing. It's freezing cold out there.
You can't do it in Colorado. But so. What do you think about like the expansion of how connected we are as people? Like when you and I were children, the idea of talking to somebody, like if I wanted to hang out with a friend, we had to plan that shit in advance. Now you can get a hold of somebody instantly. Like, do you think that's helping us as a society, or do you think it's like helping us talk too much? Are we too involved? Where are we at with that?
I think you know what I'm gonna say, because I'm not saying I have to be devil's advocate, but I have to be the person of reason. When you go to dinner and you see people sitting on their...
I don't eat dinner. I'm gonna look hard.
That's still dinner.
Yeah, I guess.
You go to dinner and you see people on their phones, right?
It's sad, right?
They're so disconnected, but they feel like they're connected.
Yeah.
We're connected more...
You create a world.
More than ever before, right?
Absolutely.
But you're with your grandma and you're on your phone. I don't know if grandma listens to this, but she actually said something.
She won't. She will not listen to this.
She said something about...
She can't figure out how to get here. I can promise you, Grandma, you're not going to hear this shit.
She said, unless this podcast blows up, but She said something about a couple of our family members at dinner, and she's like, you know what? If you're just gonna come to dinner and play on your phones, you shouldn't even come, because you're not fucking there if you're playing on your phone.
Yeah, it is kind of.
Tarl, I'm talking to you. Hang on, Tarl's listening, right? He listens to this fucking podcast. If you're out there drinking with us and you're on your phone, you're not with us.
Hey, Tarl, get off your phone, buddy. But it
Right?
is. I feel that same way. But when it's kind of like a crutch, like media and electronics has almost become an addiction. Like when I'm feeling anxious, like we were talking about before, it's an easy way out. Like it's almost like a drug.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction, which becomes an addiction. For me, I sell these things, and I see people come in, and they're like, I can't live without this. And it makes me sick. But I can't.
Right.
I can kind of relate, but it also makes me sick that we're there.
One that newer thing. You want the iPhone 8 even though it's just as good as the iPhone 7. Why are you willing to pay that extra $800 just for something that does the same thing?
You bite your tongue, buddy. That's how I pay my bills, motherfucker.
That's how you pay your
Hey,
bills.
buy the iPhone 8 when it comes out, baby.
You're feeding what you're talking about.
Yes,
though,
I
right?
am. Yeah, it is disappointing, and I will sell it if it's there. If I'm making money, I'm gonna sell it to you. You
We
better
have to make a
fucking
living.
find your self-respect.
You know, I watched a documentary recently about. Do you know what happened in 2008 with the stock market bubble? Stock market.
I'm interested. Tell me.
Well, I'll try and tell you everything I remember. Well, stock market
like your
actually came
disclaimer.
close to a crash because we have these bubbles. I'm not a fucking genius on this. I just watched a documentary. But you heard about the 2008 stock market crash. We almost went to a depression, right?
Yeah. I remember like how close we were to we are in economic hardship. I remember how close we were to a depression.
Okay, well, look at this. George Bush has spent more money. Sorry, I keep doing that for some reason.
It's getting a lot of feedback.
Sorry about the feedback, 8 folks. Probably up to 15 right now.
Hey, we're going to get a lot of listeners. Buddy.
George Bush spent more money than every president before him on bailouts. You understand this?
Yeah.
You know what president spent more than George Bush? Probably Barack Obama's.
B-Brack. I love Barack.
I love Barack,
I love
too.
Barack, dude.
He's a great guy.
He looks like a good dude.
But he spent more money than Trump did. And, I can't remember if it was just bailouts or just in general, but he spent more than every single president. And they don't just get this money from taxpayers. They get this money from overseas. You know what happens when our market or economy crashes? If America's dollar crashes or our economy crashes, it affects the entire world. Do you know where does China get their money from? They get their money from importing goods to us. Exporting goods to us. Why do they make 2 different words for that? Just call it importing either way. Just say importing out or importing in, you fucking idiots.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor export.
I was going to say, if you said there, I'm like, why even use those words?
Right. Well, where was I?
China's economy.
Yeah, like
where we fit in.
If our economy goes down, everything goes down.
Which is a nice fail-safe for us.
I once went to a bar and I got drunk with a guy that was shipped here to become a worker. Okay,
that's depressing.
They buy workers. It's a real thing. You want your bananas for
I love bananas.
44 cents a pound or whatever that
High in
is.
carbs, all over.
Well, his people are over there making them for a penny an hour.
That guy makes bananas?
Well, he did when he was over there, but now he's making.
You're telling me this man makes bananas?
It was an example.
It's a bad example. Who makes bananas?
Well,
bananas are grown.
I love bananas. It's my favorite fruit.
Yeah, man.
In Guatemala, that's the main fruit that they grow over there.
Okay, grow. That's better.
That's actually not a fact. Look that up, but you'll believe anything I tell you because I said it with confidence.
Yeah, you sounded dope. You still do. I don't
Well, what
know.
he did tell me is that if you want those prices, if there's a kid starving right now, working for pennies on the dollar, for pennies an hour, even a child or a parent, either way, a child shouldn't be working. A parent shouldn't be working for pennies on the dollar, right? But you go get that T-shirt that you're fucking wearing right now for what, $10? It would be 15 or 20 without
Kohl's?
that person. What's your idea about that? Like, do you have the heart to say, you know what? I'll pay an extra $5 for bananas. I'll pay an extra $5 for this
I
t-shirt.
don't. And
you don't give a fuck because you don't see their faces.
it's just like everything we do, man. We're just so comfortable. Like factory farming. Me and my buddy were talking about this the other day. Like, my buddy Jacob and I, we were at work, and I was like, dude, if you sanction off a state or an island, and we used it just for produce and our meat and everything, and we just let all our animals run free there, it wouldn't be like factory farming. And then we were like, how do we make this efficient? Oh yeah, we'll make a shed, and that's where we'll keep all the animals so they don't run around. Yes. And how do we constantly get the animals to how do we butcher them? We'll make machines to do that. And eventually, like, you're back up to factory farming. Right now, like, how easy we have it, we're so used to it. There's no going back. You can't get a fucking bow and go sit in a tree. Trust me.
For how many people
freezing.
For how many people there are, you have to have factory farming.
Whoa,
Because
dude! 3D printing burgers.
Not all that is something of the future that I'm very excited about. But as someone that has seen these factory farms,
you've been in them?
Not been in them, but outside of them, and just the smell, and just looking.
I
at
lived
them.
beside one. I did.
I've seen the cows next to each other. It's disgusting.
It's sad.
The smell you can smell from 5 miles away. But it is how we can live how we're living. Do you want to live how you're living? Of course you do.
In theory, yeah, but I also don't want to suck dick, and I want to reduce my carbon footprint. Like, isn't it bad that we are so apex of a creature that we have to limit ourselves on how many animals we can kill? Like,
survival of
that,
the fittest.
but that shows how far we've evolved. We made it to the fucking top. You can only kill 2 or 3 deers a season. That shows that we are the apex predator.
You can force them to
we're
mate.
running this shit into the ground, man. Because we're so comfortable, but there's a saying, it's wise men plant trees that they'll never see. Or no, wise men plant trees for which shade they'll never be able to enjoy, or some shit like that. It takes a lot of people to really jump on board and really get uncomfortable. Nobody's gonna want to get uncomfortable. If you cut down any of this shit that I'm experiencing,
right.
I'm gonna be. I want to help.
Yeah, you can show me 1,000 Sarah McLachlan videos, but I'm not gonna donate.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. Hey, you might get me on the 1,000th one.
The thing is, it's like, what will make us come to our senses? Because if you ask me the same question I asked you about those kids and those adults working for pennies on a dollar, would I do it? Would I
Would you pay more?
Would I give them $3?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I can't.
How fucked up is that though? That you
my Netflix and Hulu.
If you talk to him in person though, you know when that guy was talking to me, I was kind of like, yeah, fuck bananas. Just bananas.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm gonna eat bananas less.
Yeah, no bananas. Everything else.
If I met a dude that made toilet paper, I'd be like, what the fuck do I do? All right, I think that's a good place to pause the podcast. We're going to go get some refreshments, and I am going to come back to you with a word from our sponsors. Thank you, all of our listeners, all thousands and thousands of you, and we'll be right back to Manscape.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Manscape. This episode is brought to you by Larry's Lap Pillows. Do you need something on your lap because you're a big fat piece of shit? Well, Larry has a lap pillow for everybody. The skinny chicks, the fat dudes, and even the Mexicans. And Trump can't stop that. Alright, welcome back, MacTech.
Hey,
got our refreshments.
What's up, you fat piece of shit?
Whoa.
This podcast is brought to you by MeUndies.
Hey!
Are you sick of your pussy being dry?
You can't.
By that fabric being not made of modal? Well, guess what, you dumb son of a bitch.
Now if MeUndies ever hears this, if I ever get famous, I'm looking at a lawsuit.
You're gonna get sued.
I know that, and it's coming out of your paycheck, bitch.
But you know what? You're gonna have the softest pussy in the world from this fabric.
I am so sorry, MeUndies.
Alright, back to the podcast.
You gotta make up sponsors. Larry's Lap Pillows hasn't been invented yet, but when it does.
So MeUndies, who would think of a stupid company name like that?
MeUndies did, and they're fine.
That's a stupid company name, though. Don't you agree?
I suppose so. Mackenzie, what what films would you say are masterpieces? What would you say is an absolute must see before you die, which is inevitable?
You know, it's a very subjective question to ask.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you.
Some of my favorite films, in my opinion, I really like action films, like the movie Warrior about two brothers fighting each other. But that's, in my opinion, of fighting movies. Anything with Tom Hardy. You put me on the spot a little bit with favorite movie, because that's really what this question is about, correct?
Yeah. That's directly what the question's about, bro.
It's really a hard question. I would have to say Lawless, probably.
Lawless is good.
Huge fan of Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
JG, he wasn't in that film.
He's not in that.
I think you're talking about the old Shia. Shia Surprise.
Shia LaBeouf, Tom Hardy, the English actor. Great film. If I was to recommend any movie to anybody, it would definitely be Lawless. Probably my favorite movie of all time.
Shia, dude, he really took a turn for the worst. Like,
With
maybe
Fury?
I love Fury.
Yeah, but
Fury
he took his own teeth out for that.
So he fucking made a masterpiece.
Exactly.
What do you think? Like, if you were a childhood star on a popular show like fucking Even Stevens or Clarissa Explains It All, do you think you'd be okay with that amount of exposure, or do you think it would fuck up your whole childhood? Like, do you think you could handle it?
For the most part, I guess it's very subjective.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you, asshole.
You know, it's just a really subjective question. But I listened to a podcast with Dakota Fanning recently.
Is everything she says subjective?
It's actually, she went to a normal high school after she got done with her childhood career. She was on Coraline. I keep hitting the microphone. Sorry, viewers.
Yeah, just be careful around the wood here, buddy.
All 2000.
Yeah.
Sorry, MeUndies. But you know,
slow her down there, Turbo.
they actually had to edit her voice in Coraline because she was getting too old throughout the film.
Those movies take a long time.
They take a long time. So them recording their voices, she was actually getting older and her voice was starting to change. Little tidbit off the Nerdist podcast. You know, she's just like one of us.
She's a girl.
Just a little twink in a girl form.
Nice.
That's the way I describe that girl. But yeah, she was really down to earth. But you know, when the lights are on you, who knows what she's like without the lights on her? But you know, she went to a normal high school, and that's my answer.
What's your answer? Like I
what would
see
it do to me?
Yeah, what it would do to you? What do you think you can handle it? Would you Dakota Fanning the shit out of this and just go back to high school? 'Cause